Hello everyone, how are you all? I hope everyone is keeping fine and safe. Yes, so let's start our video today. I know you all are eagerly waiting for various notifications to be out, and surely in this video also I'm going to give you some real important notifications that is out. That is for, I'm sure you will be benefited out of it. That is for ISS IES 2021 notifications that are out. So candidates have to ensure their eligibility for their examination. The notification that is out states that all candidates, male or female or transgender, are requested to carefully read the rules of Indian Economic Service or Indian Statistical Service examination notified by the government. That is through the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And not only this, the notice of examination that is derived from these rules are very important to be followed. So candidates applying for this examination should ensure that they fulfill all the eligibility conditions for admission to the examination. Their admission at all the stages or any stages, if you say, of the examination will be purely based on provisional conditions subject to satisfying the prescribed eligibility conditions that they have asked for. Mere issue of e-admission certificate to the candidates will not imply that his or her candidature has been finally cleared by the commission. So be very careful about that. Verifications of eligibility conditions with reference to original documents is taken up only after the candidate has qualified for the interview or for the personality test that will be conducted thereafter. The Commission takes up verification of eligibility conditions with reference to original documentation only after the candidate has qualified for interview or personality test. Now coming to a very important question, how to apply? Yes, candidates are required to apply online only by using the website https://www.upsconline.nic.in. Brief instructions for filling up the online application form have been given in their appendix 2. You can follow that. Detailed instructions are available on the mentioned website that I just told you now, and you can refer that. Candidates should have details of one photo ID card, that is Aadhaar card or a voter card or PAN card or passport or driving license or any other ID card issued by the state or through the central government. The details of this photo ID card will have to be provided by the candidate while filling up the online application form. So that will be very much required. The candidates will have to upload a scanned copy of the photo ID whose details have been provided in the online application by the candidate or by him or her. This photo ID card will be used for all future referencing, and the candidate is advised to carry this photo identity card while appearing for the examination or even for the personality test. Also note, the Commission has introduced the facility of withdrawal of application for those candidates who do not want to appear for the examination. In this regard, let me say you, instructions are mentioned in Appendix 2B of their annexure of this examination notice. So if anyone is related to this, you can follow that also. Last date for submission and withdrawal of applications, let me tell you, the online applications can be filled up to 27th of April 2021 till 18 hours. The online applications can be withdrawn from the site as on 4/5/2021 to 10/5/2021 till 6 p.m. Detailed instructions regarding withdrawal of application is available at Appendix 2B. If you want any details, you have to refer to that. The eligible candidates shall be issued an e-admission certificate 3 weeks before the commencement of the examination, not any other date before that. The e-admission certificate will be made available in the UPSC website, that is www.upsconline.nic.in, for downloading by candidates. No admission certificate will be sent by the post. All the applicants are required to provide valid and active email ID while filling up their online application form, as the Commission may use electronic mode for contacting them, that is via the email. They can contact you through the email. Now coming to the notification they have given regarding special instructions. Candidates are advised to read carefully all the special instructions to the candidates for conventional type test that is mentioned in Appendix 3 and special instructions for objective type test that is mentioned in Appendix 4. Instructions for filling up the OMR sheet. For both writing and marking answers in the OMR sheet, that is the answer sheet that they have given you, candidates must use black ballpoint pen only ballpoint black pen. Pens with any other colors are prohibited. Do not use pencil or ink pen. Candidates should note that any omission or mistake or discrepancy in encoding or filling in details in the OMR sheet, answer sheet, especially with regard to the roll number and test booklet series code, will render the answer sheet liable for rejection. Penalty for wrong answers, talking about this, in objective type question paper, candidates should note that there will be penalty, that is, we say negative marking, for the wrong answers that you have marked or the candidate has marked in the objective type question paper. Now coming to the facilitation counter for guidance of the candidates. In case of any kind of guidance or information or clarification regarding their applications or any kind of doubts, candidature, etc., candidates can contact UPSC's Facilitation Center counter near C gate of its campus in person or over telephone number 011-2338-5271 or 011-230-98513 on working days between 10 hours and 17 hours. Mobile phones are banned. The use of any mobile phone, even in switched off mode or pager or any electronic equipment or programmable device or storage media like pen drives or smartwatches, etc., or camera or Bluetooth device or any other equipments or related accessories, either in working condition or in switched off mode, capable of being used as a communication device during the examination, is strictly prohibited to be entered in the examination. Any infringement of these instructions shall entail disciplinary action, including ban from future examinations also. Candidates are advised in their own interest not to bring any of the banned items, including the mobile phones or Bluetooth or any valuable or costly items to the venue of the examination in case if it is lost or misplaced, as arrangement for safekeeping cannot be assured by the examination halls. Commission will not be responsible for any loss in this regard. The examination will be held at the centers that I'm seeing you right now. It will be held at Ahmedabad, Jammu, Bangalore, that is Bengaluru, Kolkata, Bhopal, Lucknow, Chandigarh, Mumbai, that is the state for Maharashtra, Chennai, Patna, Cuttack, Prayagraj, that is, as we say, Allahabad, that is Allahabad center is Prayagraj, Delhi, Shillong, Dispur, Shimla, Hyderabad, Tiruvananthapuram, Jaipur. So these are the centers where you can give the examinations. The centers and the date of holding the examination, as mentioned, as I told you, are liable to be changed as at the discretion of the Commission as per their convenience. Applicants should note that there will be a ceiling on the number of candidates allotted to each of the centers, except Chennai, Delhi, Dispur, Kolkata, and Ahmedabad. Allotment of centers will be on the first apply, first allot basis. And once the capacity of a particular center is attained or it is over, the same will be frozen. So no one will be allowed to apply for that center. Applicants who cannot get a center of their choice due to ceiling will be required to choose a center from the remaining ones. Applicants are thus advised that they may apply early so that they could get a center of their choice. Now coming to the eligibility conditions. I know you're eagerly waiting to hear about the eligibility conditions. So yes, firstly, nationality. A candidate must be either a citizen of India or a subject of Nepal or a subject of Bhutan or a Tibetan refugee who came over to India before the 1st of January 1962 with the intention of permanently settling in India, or a person of Indian origin who has migrated from Pakistan or Burma or Sri Lanka or East African countries of Kenya, Uganda, the United Republic of Tanzania, Zambia, Malawi, Zaire, and Ethiopia, or Vietnam with the intention of permanently settling in India, provided that a candidate belonging to the categories B and C and D and E shall be in person in whose favor a certificate of eligibility has been issued by the government of India. Next, a candidate in whose case a certificate of eligibility is necessary may be admitted to the examination, but the offer of appointment may be given only after the necessary eligibility certificate has been issued to him or her by the government of India and he or she is able to produce that. Next, coming to age limits. Yes, ISS 2021 age limits. A candidate must have attained the age of 21 years and must not have attained more than the age of 30 years as on 1st of August 2021. That is, he or she must not have been born earlier than 2nd of August 1991 and not later than 1st of August 2000. The upper age limit prescribed as per the notification will be relaxable, as I'm going to say right now, so please pay attention. Up to a maximum of 5 years if a candidate belongs to scheduled caste or a scheduled tribe. Up to a maximum of 3 years in the case of the candidate belonging to other backward classes who are eligible to avail of reservation applicable to such candidates. Third relaxation, up to a maximum of 3 years in the case of defense services personnel disabled in operations during hostilities with any other foreign countries or in a disturbed area and released as a consequence thereof. The fourth relaxation is up to a minimum of 5 years in the case of ex-servicemen, including commissioned officers and ECOs or SSCOs who have rendered at least 5 years military service as on 1st of August 2021 and have been released on completion of assignment, including those whose assignment is due to be completed within 1 year from 1st of August 2021. Otherwise, then by way of dismissal or discharge on account or misconduct or inefficiency or on account of physical disability attributable to military service or on invalidment The next relaxation is up to a maximum of 5 years in the case of ECOs or SSCOs who have completed an initial period of assignment of 5 years of military service as on 1st of August 2021 and whose assignment has been extended beyond 5 years and in whose case the Ministry of Defense issues a certificate that they can apply for civil employment and that they will be released on 3 months' notice on selection from the date of receipt of offer of the appointment. The next relaxation they have provided is up to a maximum of 10 years in the case of persons with benchmark disabilities, that is, blindness and low vision, deaf and hard of hearing, locomotor disability, including cerebral palsy, leprosy, cured, dwarfism, acid attack victims, and muscular dystrophy, autism, intellectual disability, specific learning disability, and mental illness. Multiple disabilities from amongst persons that I mentioned under clause A to D, including deaf blindness. Please take notes of the following that I'm going to say right now. Candidates belonging to the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes and the other backward classes, that is the OBC, who are also covered under any other clauses of para 3 section 2b that I mentioned right now, that is those coming under the category of ex-servicemen and persons with benchmark disabilities, will be eligible for grant of cumulative age relaxation under both the categories. Next note, please pay attention to this also. The term of ex-servicemen will apply to the persons who are defined as ex-servicemen in the ex-servicemen, that is re-employment in civil services and post. Rules 1979 as amended from time to time. The next note, please be careful to this. The age concession under para 3(2)(b) section 4 and section 5 will be admissible to an ex-serviceman, that is a person who has served in any rank, whether as combatant or non-combatant in the regular army or navy and air force of the Indian Union, and who either has been retired or relieved or discharged from such service, whether at his own request or being relieved by the employer after earning his or her pension. The next note, pay attention to this also. Notwithstanding the provisions of age relaxation under the para 3(2)(b)(6) above, as it is mentioned in the article, a person with benchmark disabilities will be considered to be eligible for appointment only if he or she, after such physical examination as the government or appointing authority, as the case may be, may prescribe if found to satisfy the requirement of physical and medical standard for the concerned services or post that is to be allocated to the persons with benchmark disabilities by the government of India. The next note or attention that I would like you all to pay is the details of functional classification, that is FC, and physical requirements, that is PR, of each service is indicated in the notice, which are identified and prescribed by the respective cadre controlling authorities, that is the CCAs, as per the provisions of the section 33 and section 34 of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016. Only those category or categories of disability or disabilities mentioned in the notice shall apply for the examination under persons with benchmark disabilities, that is PWBD category. Therefore, the candidates belonging to the persons with benchmark disability categories are advised to read it carefully and thoroughly before applying for the examination if they're opting for it. Next, coming to the minimum qualification, that is minimum educational qualification. A candidate for the Indian Economic Service must have obtained a postgraduate degree in economics or applied economics or business economics or econometrics from a university incorporated by of an act of the central or state legislature in India or other educational institutes established by an act parliament or declared to be deemed as university under section 3 of the University Grants Commission, that is the UGC Commission Act of 1956, or a foreign university approved by the central government from time to time. A candidate for the Indian Statistical Service, that is the ISS, must have obtained a bachelor's degree with statistics or mathematical statistics, applied statistics, or as any one of the subjects, or a master's degree in statistics or a master's degree in mathematical statistics or applied statistics from university incorporated by an act of the central or state legislature in India or other educational institutes established by an act of parliament or declared to be deemed as university under section 3 of the University Grants Commission Act 1956, or a foreign university approved by the central government from time to time. Please note that a candidate who has appeared at an examination, the passing of which would render them eligible to appear at this examination, but has not been informed of the result, may apply for admission to the examination. A candidate who intends to appear at such a qualifying examination may also apply. Such a candidate will be admitted to the examination if otherwise eligible, but his or her admission would be deemed to be provisional and subject to cancellation if his or her does not, or he or she does not produce the proof of having passed the requisite qualifying examination along with the detailed application form, which will be required to be submitted by the candidate who qualifies on the results of the written, that is of the written part of the examination. Such proof of passing the requisite examination should be dated earlier than the due date, that is the closing date of the detailed application form of the Indian Economic Service or Indian Statistical Service examination for the year 2021. Also note, in exceptional cases, the Union Public Service Commission, that is the UPSC, may treat a candidate who has none of the foregoing qualification as a qualified candidate, provided that he or she has passed examinations conducted by other institutions, the standard of which, in the opinion of the Commission, justifies his or her admission to the examination. Also note, a candidate who is otherwise qualified but who has taken a degree from a foreign university may also apply to the Commission and may be admitted to the examination at the discretion of the Commission. Physical standards, talking about the physical standards actually, candidates must be physically fit and fine according to the physical standard for admission to Indian Economic Service, that is the IES, or Indian Statistical Service examination, that is the ISS examination for 2021, as per regulations given in the Appendix 3 of the rules of the Indian Economic Service or Indian Statistical Service examination 2021, published in Gazette of India dated 7th of April 2020. Next, talking about the fees. Candidates except female or scheduled caste or scheduled tribe or persons with benchmark disability, candidates who are exempted from payment of fees are required to pay a fees of rupees 200 either by remitting the money in any branch of the SBI, that is the State Bank of India, or by using Visa or Master or RuPay credit card or debit card, or by using internet banking of SBI. Applicants who opt for pay by cash mode should print the system generated pay in slip during Part 2 registration and deposit the fee at the counter of the SBI branch on the next working day itself. Pay by cash mode will be deactivated at 23:59 hours on 26th 4 2021, that is the last or the closing date. However, applicants who have generated their pay-in slip before it is deactivated may pay at the counter of the State Bank of India branch during banking hours on the closing date also. Such applicants who are unable to pay by cash on the closing date, that is during banking hours at SBI branch, for reasons whatsoever, even if holding valid pay-in slip, will have no other offline option but to opt for available online debit or credit card or internet banking payment mode, that is on the closing date, that is still 18 hours of 27/4/2021. Please note, candidates should note that payment of examination fee can be made only through the modes prescribed by them. Payment of fees through any other mode is neither valid nor acceptable. Applications submitted without the prescribed fee or mode, that is, unless remission of fee is claimed, shall be summarily rejected. That is, their candidature or application form will be rejected. Also note, fees once paid shall not be refunded under any circumstances, nor can the fee be held in reserve for any other examination or selection. Also note, for the applicants in whose case payments detail have not been received from the bank, they will be treated as fictitious payment cases and their applications will be rejected in the first instance. A list of all such applicants shall be made available on the Commission's website within 2 weeks after the last date of payment or after the date of submission of the online application. So if you're a candidate like this, you can find your name on that list. The applicants shall be required to submit the proof of their fee payment within 10 days from the date of such communication, either by hand or by speed post to the Commission. On receipt of documentary proof, genuine fee payment cases will be considered or allowed and their applications will be revived if they are otherwise eligible, that is, if they are considered for other eligibility conditions. So I have given you enough details about the ISS and IES examination 2021. So if you are an eligible candidate having the minimum qualification and if you're interested in this and you're a person of such statistics field, then definitely I'm sure you will find value out of this video and I'm sure you will be benefited. So all the very best for your career ahead. Thank you for so patiently listening to me out, hearing me out, and all the best for your future ahead. With this, I'll conclude my video. Thank you so much.